Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Three tips here, and what I've got for this video series is some jeweler's waste sweeps out of his tool drawer. When he works on jewelry, he keeps his tool drawer open, and as he files and sands and grinds on the pieces of gold and silver jewelry, those particles fall down into his tool drawer, and then we sweep them up and he saves them, and we're gonna do a refining on this material now. Let's see what we got for a weight on this stuff. Looks like we've got 34.1 grams of jeweler's tool drawer sweeps. All right, we're gonna flatten this all out, see what we got going on in here. There's some solid pieces. There's a staple. Ain't gonna fly with us. So I'm gonna have to go through here. There's a piece of a saw blade right there. I'm gonna have to go through here and kind of pick through it initially, just to get the big hunks of junk that aren't precious metals out of here before we proceed. Anything in here from dead cockroaches to fingernails, pieces of polishing compound, which I try to exclude. It's this green stuff right there. And anything magnetic that's obviously magnetic, you know, like a staple or a saw blade, I go ahead and pull it out. And then if I find any gemstones, like right there, I try to pull them out and put them in here, and then we'll separate them out of there and give them back to the jeweler. I've got a magnet in this cup. Now we're gonna go around our stuff here and see what we can attract with this magnet. I'll put that stuff in this dish over here. All right, let's go back through here one more time. Pretty much nothing. So I think we've got our sweeps cleaned up here. This is ready to be incinerated. I'll take all the gemstones and all the stuff that's out of here, that's in here, and I'll put it in this container and give it back to the jeweler. Got everything separated. Here's all the stuff that's going back to the jeweler. That's all his gemstones and non-precious metal stuff that I picked out of here. And so now what we'll do is we'll take this. This is our scrap, our sweeps. I'm gonna put it in this dish, and we'll get a final weight, our beginning weight on it. All right, looks like we've got 30 grams. It's hard to say what we're gonna get out of this. It should be karat gold filings and trimmings, clippings from the jeweler's work, maybe 10, 12 grams, something like that. I'm gonna take this and put it in the furnace and burn it now. Oh yeah, we've got this heated to redness now. Take it out of the furnace, take it in, let it cool off. Here's our material. Allowed it to cool. And now what we'll do is pour it through this fine mesh screen. All the solids. melt this into a button. Here's our little button that we just melted. Let's see if I can pull some tests on this thing. Let's see what it's going to do for us. Put some 14K test acid on here. Let's see what it does. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it almost totally disappears. It stays just a little bit. There's enough there to call it gold, but it's going to be like less than 10K gold. So what I think we can do with this button is just go ahead and put it in a beaker and put some acid on it, some nitric acid. Treat it just like it's in quarted gold, and do a recovery on it that way with hot nitric acid boils. So let's get out the fume hood and do that. So now what we'll do is we'll add some water to both of these. This is the material that we forced through the fine mesh strainer. Just going to add some distilled water to it. Add some distilled water to our little button. Now I'm going to put some nitric acid in here in each of these. About an equal amount of nitric acid for each beaker. This will form a dilute nitric acid solution. The jeweler works with silver, so there's probably going to be some silver in these scraps. And we'll set each one up on a heat source and let these react in hot dilute nitric acid. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and pull these down and let it cool off and get in here and see exactly what we've got going on. Allow these to cool off completely. Now what we'll do is pour off this liquid. It's a piece of gold that we melted into a button. We're treating it just like it's a piece of imported gold. So now what I'll do is add a little bit more water to this. And now add some nitric acid. Nitric acid. I'm gonna set this back up on the heat. Allow this to continue to react and see if we can get all the silver, all the base metals pulled out of there. Here's our little button that we're boiling in nitric. What I'm going to do is just kind of reach in here with a little rod and try to break that up. Water. A little more nitric acid. Now to our reaction back here. Just let this continue. I wasn't paying attention, working on other stuff, and this button got boiled down to dryness. I've allowed it to cool completely. Add some distilled water. I didn't intend to do that. That was an accident, by the way. Now we're going to add a little bit more nitric acid so we can pull any more nitric soluble metals out of here. This burner gets very hot. I had it set down here on 1. And I don't know why, but it just gets real hot. So I'm going to pull the heat back a little bit and see if we can just let this heat gently. Let me do this. I'm going to pull it off this high temp burner, put it over onto this one because I'm more familiar with this burner that I've got over here to my left, how it operates. So I think I'll be safer putting it on that burner. I think I've got this to where I want it. Here's our gold down at the bottom of this beaker. I'm going to set it down here now and let it cool off. My goal is to pull the silver and the base metals out of this this button here. Reach down and get a little bit of a sample of this liquid. Put it in this test tube. Now what I'll do is add a little bit of hydrochloric acid, a few drops of it. I see a whole bunch of silver chloride in here. I've got some more nitric boiling to do. It's that milky substance there. Is going to be our silver chloride. So I need to drain off this liquid and keep going with the nitric boils until that doesn't happen anymore. Otherwise, if we try to go to aqua regia, we'll get a whole bunch of silver chloride in with our gold solution and create problems. Alright, this amount of scrap. I'm just doing this for free for the jeweler. And working with this small amount like this is counterproductive. But he's my friend. I'm doing it for him as a friend. So what we'll do, there's our imported gold. That's the gold button that we melted earlier, right there. And what we'll do is hit hit this with a little bit more nitric acid. Nitric acid. Just a touch. And we'll keep doing these until that color comes up clear or colorless. Here's our gold in the nitric solution. Had to move some stuff out of the way. We'll go ahead and put this on the heat. Continue extracting the silver base metals with nitric oils. This is the sweeps. It's got a little orange color going on. These are the sweeps that we boiled in nitric acid. Let's do a status test, see what we got going on here. As you can tell there, got a stain. Alright, we're going to get down in here and get some of this solution. Put it in our test tube. I'm going to dilute it with a little bit of distilled water so we can see the result we're going to get here. Adding some hydrochloric acid. If we get silver chloride forming, then that means I don't have a bunch of silver in there. I don't see any silver chloride forming in there. That's a good thing. Our gold particles. Not very much. I'm going to try to capture the solids in this filter right here. Let's go ahead and get the rest of these solids into this filter. The gold, you can see it down to the bottom of the beaker right there. So we'll rinse that down into the bottom of this filter, and then we'll take these captured solids, which will be our gold, and the recovery will be complete, and then we'll refine this. Alright, while I'm waiting for that to pull through that filter down there, what we'll do is, there's our nitric boil on that gold button. Pour that off into this beaker back here. You see the solution pretty much, it's got a hint of color, but I think we're good here to go to try to refine what's in the bottom of this beaker now. Alright, that's the gold that's down at the bottom of the beaker. Here's our solids in the bottom of this filter right here. I'm going to rinse this out really good with some distilled water. And then we should, once that rinse pulls through here, we should be ready to combine this with this and then refine it to pure gold. These two solutions right here, going to have some platinum group metals in them, along with this little tube back here. It's got some platinum group metals in with it also. And what I'll do is I'll recover those platinum group metals and add it to my stash so that one day I'll be able to do a refining. This is not enough to do a complete refining. That's a whole different process and too lengthy to include in this video. So I'm going to take these two solutions here, once I get the liquid pulled through here, set these aside, and I'll process them separately off camera. This liquid back here is going to be the nitric boils that we did on our piece of gold down here. And it's going to have a little bit of gold in it. It's also going to have some active nitric acid in it. So what I'll do is I'll just add this to my silver jar and process it as silver nitrate. These are our solids. That green stuff is a nightmare. That's some of the polishing compound that he uses. And there's going to be sanding grit in there off the sanding discs. So this is kind of confusing. We're going to add this into our beaker down here to do our reaction. Let's get rid of this stuff and get it out of the way. I've got just a little bit of material here. I'm not expecting much gold, maybe 6-8 grams, I guess. But I'm using a big beaker because the jeweler uses soap in his processes. This thing can start foaming up from that soap. So I'm going to rinse this recovered gold here, this imported stuff, down into this beaker. Using hydrochloric acid, so there might be a reaction here right off the bat. A little bit of sulfuric acid as usual, just in case there's any lead down in here. I'm adding some hydrochloric acid, about 150 milliliters or so. I'm putting a couple of shots of nitric acid in here. That's three milliliter doses. Total of 9 milliliters of nitric acid. Here's our material. Stir this up a little bit. I'm going to put this up on the heat and let this react. Got all the fumes to clear up in there. That tells me that we've expelled all the excess nitric. We should have all the gold that was in here in solution now. Bring it down, let it cool off for a few minutes. All right, before I get too far into this, let's go ahead and do a status test. Make sure we've got gold in solution. There you go. See that dark stain? Means we've got gold in that solution. Gold. It looks like it might be gold. Not sure what we got here. Alright, I don't know what that is down in there. I'll have to take a look at this. See if that's gold or not. If it is, we'll Put some more aqua regia on it and try to get it to go into solution. What we'll do is add a little bit of hydrochloric acid to this. Now we'll add a couple of squirts nitric acid. And we're going to put this back up on the heat now and allow this to heat up. See if we still got gold in solution. Looks like it's turning yellower, so it might be gold. Yeah, it's reacting down in there. That's a good thing. That'll help our yield. And add a little bit more hydrochloric acid, just to make sure we got plenty of fresh acid in there to facilitate this reaction. Got all this fluid pulled through this filter, and we've got our gold bearing solution down in this flask. If you remember, those pieces were the imported gold that we treated with nitric acid. All I see down in there right now is the abrasive material that he uses to grind pieces of jewelry with. So everything's gone into solution. I'm going to keep boiling that until all those fumes clear up. That'll tell us all the nitric has been expelled. I think we pretty much got all the excess nitric expelled. All the gold's gone in solution. So what we're going to do now is transfer our solution out of this flask. Here's our filter. And I'm going to transfer this gold solution to a clean beaker. This up. I'm going to set this back out of the way. Put our flask back up here. I'm going to use the same filter. Pull this down off the heat. Allow this to cool for a minute. Our filter. Now we'll add our gold solution to this beaker. Get ready to do a precipitation. Normally what I would do at this point is pass it through a fine filter to get all the rest of the sediment that's in there. There's probably still a little silver chloride in here, but I'm just trying to get a yield for the jeweler. Let's get in here and do a stannous test. I know I got gold in solution, but I just like to do this every time. You can see you got a nice stain right there. Gold in solution. Here we go. We're gonna precipitate out the pure gold with sodium metabisulfite. Here we go. stainless test is more important than the other one. Make sure we've got all the gold precipitated. I don't see any indication of a stain there. Looks like we've got all the gold precipitated. After letting this react for a second, it looks like there may be a little bit of platinum group metals in this solution. If you can tell by looking at that stain, it looks kind of yellow right there, orangish. I think we've got all the gold to precipitate in that solution. I try to let this settle on its own. Be here all afternoon. I'm going to put it up on some heat, boil it, see if we can get it to settle out quickly for us. It settled out fairly quickly for us. Now what we're going to do is take this and pour it off into our waste container up here. Here's our gold down in the bottom of the beaker. Okay, we're not going to do a lot with this. I'm just trying to get a yield for my jeweler friend. So we'll give it a couple of rinses with some distilled water. Let's get the gold into a little crucible here. Let's melt this up into a button. Here's our little button of pure gold that we recovered from the jeweler's sweeps. Let's get a weight on this thing. That's 4.1. So if you look at our app here, it's 24K. I'm going to call it 24K, and we're paying 100% up here. We got 4.1. So we owe the jeweler $314.22. I'm just going to pay him. I pay him 100%. I do this for him for free. And then I get to work with actual jeweler's scrap. All right, that will conclude the video. That thing on the bottom is beautiful. That'll conclude the video. Thank you for watching.